Bang, Neeves knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is at work, and today we are doing a knife talk video about what's most important. Tomorrow we're doing a live knife talk video. So if you like these, then join us for a live tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We are going to do a knife talk episode, and I think it's going to be fun. But let's get to this one right now. Today we are talking about what's most important when it comes to the knives you buy. And my list might be different than yours. And I love doing these and hearing your guys' perspective. And, because obviously sometimes it's different. Your experience might be different than mine. So, and I love hearing your guys' perspective. That's why tomorrow will be awesome for us to just do one all together. So I broke mine down into like when I buy a knife, what is the most important part of that knife or that buy to me? And then second, third, and I got it into 5 sections. Okay. So my first thing is, and some of these, I will say some of these, it kind of groups certain things together because you can't talk about one without talking about the other. So, and in all reality, I could take each one of these things and break it down into more sections, and this video will be 2 days long. So I have it broke down into 5 sections where there's a group of things in each section. So the first one is steel, heat treat, grind, and blade shape. And that's all a part of the blade, because it doesn't matter if I have, say, the best blade shape and the best grind if my heat treat is crap, or if I have good steel and my heat treat is crap, or vice versa. Right? It doesn't matter if my heat treat's good, my steel's really good, but my grind sucks. So to me, having a good quality steel with a good heat treat, coupled with possibly in this whole section, it's hard to say which part is more important, because like I said, if I have an amazing grind, it doesn't matter if I have a crap heat treat. So, but I really like to see a good even grind. I love seeing a nice even grind from one side to the other. Also, I have a bunch of knives I'm going to pull forward, so we'll have a group of knives here. I just, instead of having a whole bunch of them and then, flip-flopping like this, I'm just going to pull them forward and lay them out. But I like to sharpen. I love having a even grind. I kind of, it's not that I despise or hate or anything like that, because in all reality, I can still get a very sharp edge on something that might not be even. But since I like to see even grinds and everything and have ease of sharpening, because it makes it easier to sharpen when your grind is even. When it's even from one side to the other, it's so much easier to sharpen. And it takes such a better edge, and it looks good. Now, looking good and cutting are 2 different things, but it also helps with the cutting and, the performance of the knife. Now, the blade shape, same thing with the blade shape, depending on what you're doing. Now, a grind, I think, is more important than the blade shape, of course, just like the thickness of the spine, the thickness behind the edge, the blade geometry, that is all more important, I think, than the actual blade shape itself in most, cases. Not all, obviously not all, but in many cases, especially for EDC. Now, if we start talking about specific tasks, then yes, a certain blade shape is going to perform a lot better. Now, the steel and the heat treat is coupled with that. I think that's very important. Having a good heat treat on a knife so that your edge retention lasts, as long as it's supposed to. The ease of sharpening, and then also the kind of edge it will take because of the good heat treat, and the steel that you're using with that heat treat, is really good. Okay, so number 2, Number two would be, remember, my list could be different than yours. Excuse me. Build quality, hardware, fit and finish. I coupled those all together because you can't really say like, oh, it has great build quality, but the hardware's crap, right? It kind of is one, like they kind of go hand in hand. So, and then you can't have good build quality and bad fit and finish. I mean, you can. I mean, I can think of a couple knives out there that are like that, but I kind of group them all together. So, my build quality and hardware. So, my hardware, I like seeing nice, big, thick hardware. Here, I'll pull in that doesn't have any hardware. Okay, I'll just pull in this. Okay, so I like seeing nice, deep hardware. This doesn't have any back spacers. Here, I'll just pull this back up. Nice big back spacers, or standoffs, I should say. Nice big standoffs, nice big hardware, or a nicely fit back spacer that's nice and big. I like seeing multiple points. Now, can it just have one standoff or one screw? Yeah, and it might be just as strong. But depending on the materials and everything else, you might want a couple different placements, and also depending on the size of the knife and everything else. But I like seeing good screws, good hardware. Here's another one. Nice big back spacer, good, nice deep hardware. Nice strong hardware, nice strong pivot collars. The materials, or not the materials, sorry, the fit and the finish of all the parts to make a good build quality, to make it where it's all nice and fit together to where when I'm using it, I'm not worried that the lock will fail or anything like that, because everything is well built and strong. Now, the lock is going to be in a different category, because even though you could take some of these other things from some of these other categories and mix them, it's still, I feel like this is a little bit separate than that. But yeah, I think the build quality, hardware, fit and finish are second. Number three, materials. So you can have all of those things I just mentioned and a completely different set of materials. Check this out. Look at this. See this side? Look at this side. This is what it looked like. Kara carried it, brought it back home, and it looked like this. I think her pants just like rubbed it because her pants are tight. That's what I'm guessing happened. I kind of think it looks cool. Let me know, which side do you guys think looks better? This or this? Anyways. But yeah, so I think the materials should be on the list, or number three on my list, because I do like materials. I really, really do. I think sometimes the materials could make it or break it for me. In all reality, I could have, you could give me the same knife built in the exact same way with all different materials, and I won't want it. It's just the way it is, especially, depending on the price and everything. So, materials, number three. Number four, clip and carry. It doesn't matter how good everything is on the knife if I don't carry it. The clip has to perform good. The clip has to feel good in the hand. I want the clip to feel nice and good in my hand. And I want to say that on this list, I didn't put ergos, even though because I feel like ergos is it's in here. It's in this list of stuff. I just can't figure out where I'd want to put it. I guess I put it maybe with number three, materials and ergos. I mean, it's kind of hard to put it in a place with all this stuff, but ergos is in this list somewhere. It's just where do you put it? Ergos, I think it could possibly be number 2. I mean, with the build quality and hardware. Huh. I just thought of that when I grabbed this thing. I said, man, this thing has some good ergos. Why didn't I put it on my list? It goes somewhere. Okay, so the clip and carry. So it doesn't matter if I have the best knife if I won't carry it. It has to go in and out of the pocket nice. It has to feel good in the hand. Because also a clip can work really well. Put it in your hand and you hate it, because it just won't stop digging in that spot of your hand. I know I got a couple knives like that are just awesome knives. I love the knife, but I can't stand holding it because of that damn clip. So you know what? I'm going to put it with number 4. And, yeah, ergos. Ergos, clip, and carry. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, if I put it in my hand and it's digging into a bone every time I use it, then I'm not going to want to use it. Now, if it works great in the hand, but I can't get it in and out of my pocket without struggling and grabbing it and pulling on it or anything like that, then that makes it where I'm not going to carry it. I've got a few knives that I won't carry because of the clip. I just won't. I hate it. I hate the clip. And so I guess I could say clip and carry. The carry part is part of ergos. All right, number 5. Number 5 for me. Okay, so let's go back through. We got steel, heat treat, grind, blade shape. Number 2, build quality, hardware, fit, and finish. Number 3, materials. Number 4, clip, carry, and ergos. Number 5, action, deployment, and lock. Now, I love a good action. So, I don't want anybody to think that because, this is number 5, that it's the bottom of what I care about. Absolutely not. I could go in on a lot of other things could go on this list. I just listed the top 5, right? There's a lot of other things that can go on this list, the top 5. So, action, deployment, and lock. Now, I can have a knife that the detent won't work. Like, it's like when I go to flip it, it just does that. I won't carry it. I won't carry it. I need a full deployment every time and it to lock up good. It's just me, and I know it doesn't necessarily always matter, because I could just roll it out and grab it like that, and it's not that it didn't get out fast enough, but I have found myself in a lot of sticky situations where it meant a lot that I got that knife out with one deployment. And so it's very important to me. Now the lock, or should I just go back to the action? I can't stand a knife that I can't unlock the knife. Like, I know I can unlock it, but it's just, it's BS to unlock. Like, it's hard. Like, I gotta cram my finger in there and find it and manipulate my finger and get it, and I can't stand it. It's one of my biggest pet peeves on knives. I want easy access to the lock bar every damn time. I love that. And now if it's fiddling around with the detent ball, that's not that big of a deal to me because I can always just push past it. So that's not a big deal to me. But the fact that I can get to the lock bar, it has one full bang, deployment, unlock, back in the pocket. The lock is part of that, right? Because I just said the ease of access to the lock bar. Now, also the locking mechanism period, because there's a lot of locking mechanisms out there. And that's why I kind of put it on number 5 also, because it's very, very important. But there's so... What is that? I must have cut some. It's very important, but there's so many strong locks out there that I'm not going to say like, oh, well, this one's stronger than this one, so I want this one, or I want this one. Like, I'm not going to do that because in all reality, I'll never, use the knife to a point to where I would fail either one of those locks. Now, could I if I wanted to? Probably, but I wouldn't. So I would just get a stronger tool if I was going to do that. But there you guys go. That's my list of what's important to me, 1 through 5. Let me know yours. And remember, you can, put little things, like, because like I said, certain things go hand in hand. Like the action in the lock kind of goes hand in hand. The like with a detent, if you're gonna have a flipper knife, usually it's got to have a detent. Now I know just recently SOG did that, the terminus and stuff like that. I got it sitting over there, but certain things it's just the way it is. But yeah, let me know what your guys' is, and then if you guys wouldn't mind, if you got anything out of this or if you enjoyed this, why don't you guys drop a like, maybe subscribe if you guys wouldn't mind hooking me up a little bit. Also, come to the live tomorrow. I think it's going to be a fun one, and I'd like to do one of these Knife Talk episodes with you guys. Peace.